Welcome to the edge of sleep and shadow. This is Horror Bedtime Stories, where whispers crawl beneath your covers and the dark remembers your name. Tonight's tale will haunt your dreams, if you fall asleep at all. The silent studies of granted wishes. It started with the rain, as most things do in places like this. Not the violent, cathartic kind, but a persistent, soft drumming against the tin roof of the cabin I'd inherited. A gift, or perhaps a curse, from a great aunt I barely remembered. I'd come here, deep in the whispering woods, seeking refuge, not from anything tangible, but from the relentless hum of a life that had grown too loud, too demanding. I wanted quiet. I wanted peace. The cabin was old, settled into the earth like a tired beast, its wood groaning with every shift in the wind. The silence here was a living thing, thick and heavy, punctuated only by the rain and the rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. I liked it at first. It felt like a balm. It was during one of my aimless wanderings through the overgrown garden that I found the well. Tucked away behind a tangle of blackberry bushes, its stone lip was cracked and moss-covered. A rusted iron grate pulled halfway across its mouth. An ancient, weather-beaten plaque, almost swallowed by ivy, read, "Whispers for the Deep." Local lore, the old woman in the general store had mumbled. Said it granted wishes. I'd scoffed, of course. A city person, I dealt in facts, not folklore. But the quiet here, it began to unmoor me. The nights were long, stretched thin by the relentless patter on the roof. My mind, stripped of its usual distractions, began to gnaw at me. The old anxieties, the endless loop of what-ifs and regrets from the life I'd fled, returned with a vengeance. Sleep became a battle I consistently lost. One particularly long night, exhausted and desperate, I found myself drawn back to the well. The moon, a sliver of bone, cast long, distorted shadows. The air was cold, damp. I knelt, peering into the blackness. I could hear nothing, see nothing but my own pale reflection, warped by the ripple of an unseen current and far below. "I just want to sleep," I whispered, the words feeling foolish and fragile in the vast silence. "Please, just let me sleep." I waited. Nothing. No shimmering light, no booming voice, just the rain, softer now, and the deep, abiding stillness. I shrugged, a hollow laugh escaping my lips, and went back inside. The next morning, I woke up. Truly woke. Not the restless, fitful awakening I'd grown accustomed to, but a deep, refreshing emergence from dreamless oblivion. The anxieties were gone. The usual knot in my stomach, the racing thoughts, gone. It was like someone had taken a sponge to my mind, wiping it clean. I felt light, disconcertingly light. But I'd slept, deeply, peacefully. I dismissed it as coincidence. A good night's rest, finally catching up. A few weeks later, the persistent ache in my chest, a dull throb of sorrow that had been my constant companion for years, seemed to dull. It wasn't gone entirely, but it was muted, a background hum instead of a piercing chord. I found myself by the well again, almost unconsciously. The moss felt softer beneath my fingers this time. "I wish for peace," I murmured, my voice barely audible above the whisper of the wind through the pines. To finally be free of this weight. Again, no theatrics, no grand pronouncement. But over the next few days, the weight lifted. Truly lifted. It wasn't a sudden rush of joy, but a gradual, quiet emptying. The sorrow was gone, and with it, strangely, the sharp edges of other emotions, the vivid colors of my past, the laughter, the triumphs, the small, tender moments. They all seemed a little faded now, like old photographs left too long in the sun. I was peaceful, yes, but it was a stark, almost sterile kind of peace, a vast white emptiness where intricate tapestries of feeling used to be. I convinced myself it was simply the effect of rural living, of shedding the frantic pace of the city, a necessary cleansing. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I would wake with a vague sense of unease, a feeling that something precious had been misplaced. The silence in the cabin became absolute. I wished for it, you see. After a particularly jarring encounter with a squirrel chattering outside my window, I'd whispered into the well's depths, "I wish for true quiet. No more disturbances." The next day, the forest seemed to hold its breath. The birds stopped singing. The wind no longer rustled the leaves. Even the rain, when it came, landed with an eerie, muffled silence, as if absorbed by the very air. My own footsteps on the wooden floors made no sound. It was the quiet I had craved, perfect and unbroken. But it was also terrifying. The world felt muffled, as though I was living behind a thick pane of glass. I shouted, just to hear my own voice. It sounded flat, dead, swallowed immediately by the vast quiet. I found myself checking my pulse, just to confirm my own existence. Then I noticed it, my reflection in the water of the well. It wasn't quite right. My eyes seemed emptier. The lines around them, the subtle expressions that spoke of past joys and sorrows, were smoothed away. I looked like a polished, simplified version of myself. The well wasn't granting wishes. It was removing. It hadn't given me sleep. It had removed my anxiety. It hadn't given me peace. It had removed my sorrow, and with it, the capacity for deep emotion. It hadn't given me quiet. It had removed all sound, leaving me in a deafening void. The realization hit me with a chilling clarity that almost broke through the numb serenity the well had gifted me. It didn't add. It subtracted. And the things it took, they were the very fabric of my being. I thought of the past, the mistakes, the regrets, the loves. What if I wished for a complete erasure of my painful past? Would it simply remove those memories? Or would it remove the person who lived them? Would it remove me? I stared into the well, its dark mouth a perfect circle of absence. My own reflection gazed back, a porcelain mask devoid of depth. The hum of the forgotten world was gone. The whispers of the trees, gone. The sound of my own breath, gone. I stood there, a statue in a silent world, a profound, terrifying peace settling over me. The cabin was utterly still. The forest was utterly still. Even my heart, I noted with detached curiosity, beat with an almost imperceptible rhythm, as if wary of disturbing the profound quiet. I had wished for peace, for quiet, for release from the noise of life, and the well had given it to me by taking everything else, and now there was nothing left to wish for, only the silence.